always remind me this record. Okay. All right. Well, this is not too bad. So natural selection. So there's three ideas of natural selection that you really can't argue with, and there's only three things. One is organisms over reproduce, right? And that's actually just something you see in the world, right? Let me get you a picture here. If we Google a litter. So how many puppies did that mother have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's say for 10 years, she can make for 10 years, mom can make 7 new dogs every year. That's crazy. The planet will be full of puppies, right? That's a lot of puppies. One mom can make 7 puppies every year. That's wild. So if one dog can make 7 dogs, that's too many dogs, right? So animals over reproduce. That's just now what we think they over reproduce because it's more. What is the game of natural selection and evolution? If your offspring and genes survive into the future, then your genes and offspring will exist in the future. If you don't try to have your genes and offspring make it into the future, they won't exist in the future. So what things, the future is now. Who's here? The things that survived, right? So the more offspring an individual makes, the more likely that there's going to be things like that individual in the future. Now, this is true of plants, animals, fish, bees, right, insects. Now, don't get me wrong, you don't have to play this game, right? You don't have to have kids, right? But the living things that we study are the things that have reproduced and have offspring that survive, right? Now, so that's one thing. You can't argue with that. Every time you look around, organisms over reproduce. Now, on top of that, there's slight innate variations, right? The slight innate variations. Not all the offspring are exactly like mom and dad, and not all the offsprings are exactly like each other. That's also true, right? So the logical conclusion is that the traits that contribute to success will be inherited by the next generation. If there's something different about the puppy that makes it more likely it will survive, then the next generation will look like that puppy, right? And if there's something about the puppy that's going to inhibit it from surviving, the next generation won't look like that puppy. So it's pretty hard to argue against this. I don't see a hole in this theory. Now, it's almost not even a theory, right? Organisms over reproduce. Observation, fact. Slight innate variations would affect who gets to survive and reproduce. That just makes sense. Traits contributing to success would be inherited by the next generation. Well, how could that not be, right? So I don't get why it's not even controversial.